Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Today we're going to talk about the Las Vegas alien case again, and I think it's an important case, as everyone knows. I talk about it a lot on this channel because, as far as I'm concerned, this is the case that has brought forth the absolute evidence that shows that we are not alone. There's just no question about it. Anybody who would sit down and take the time to digest all of this information would understand that this case does provide that final proof, that absolute proof that a lot of people have been reaching for over the decades. But this one here actually delivers, as I've been trying to make clear over the past several months, ever since Scott Roeder made his presentation on this podcast on April 2nd. Scott Roeder, the crime scene reconstruction expert. But I want to talk today about the anomalies, some of the other anomalous activity that could be seen in this 1 minute and 41 second long video. We're going to talk about that. But before we do, I want to just go through the timeline of events because there are some people that are just learning about this and they don't know the whole story. So I want to give a brief overview of the timeline of events that and then when you take all of this in totality, you realize, okay, yeah, this is real and there's no turning back now. We've crossed that we crossed the Rubicon, as they say, as far as everyone should be concerned. Anyone should be concerned, as far as anyone should be concerned. We have crossed the Rubicon. But anyway, it starts, with what a lot of people said was just a meteor falling from the sky. And as we know, that was captured on body cam footage of a Las Vegas Metro Police Department officer as he was out and about interviewing some people in a street for something. And meanwhile, you could see in the background something comes falling out of the sky. Some people say it was a meteor. It was a bluish green looking object that comes floating down from the sky. And then, of course, there was other video that captured this as well. There was home security cameras that had captured this. There was one in particular that I thought was very interesting that had sound along with it. And as the thing fell from the sky, you could hear a sound, like an oscillating mechanical sound. That's what it was like, and as it comes down from the sky. And let's just play it really quick. Okay, now with regard to that, I did talk to an expert in meteors, an astronomer, Christopher Hurd from the University of Alberta earlier this year, and he told me that sound that we heard there could be vibrations caused by the object as it came down, could vibrate local, like from someone's house, something vibrated as the object came down. I don't believe that. I don't agree with that at all. In fact, it's not a meteor, folks. It's just not a meteor, and we'll talk about why it's not a meteor as we go through this. And there was also another video taken from a self-driving car, and on that they had a camera on there, and it filmed in various different filters, and one of them was a low-wave infrared filter, and in that low-wave infrared filter there was no heat signature. The object gave off no heat signature as it came down from the sky. So that all of that is evidence toward this. But even with that said, heat signature, no heat signature, sound, no sound, that doesn't matter. What matters here, and what people get confused about, it doesn't really matter whether there was a heat signature or not. Even though this video here shows that there was no heat signature through as it was filmed through low wave infrared. That's okay. That's all fine and dandy. But even if it did, it doesn't really matter. And even if it didn't make a sound or it makes a sound, whatever the case, right? It doesn't really matter, because what happens later is what matters. What happens later, right, is what shows us, what tells us that object could not have been a meteor, because that object did come down onto the property, the Las Vegas property of the Kenmore family. That's a pseudonym. That's not the real names, but that's what they want to go by, and I understand that. But it came down on their property, and it was not a meteor. As that object came down, I just want to point out one other aspect to this. There was people that saw this all over the place in several different states, including not only in the Las Vegas area, but people saw it from California. Some people saw it from Utah. But there was a report that was filed with the American Meteor Society. and this was filed on. And this was before this was became big news that that there was people had seen aliens in their backyard. Before that happened, there was someone who filed a report from Arizona named Brittany R. And I want to just mention this because I think it's very important. She was commenting she saw this meteor come down from Lake Havasu City in Arizona, and she was looking. So, from her position, it was north of her position, and she actually filed this report about what she saw. She says immediately after observing this fireball, two lights appeared in the sky above where the fireball's path had been. They resembled stars, but were moving quickly and disappearing, then reappearing constantly over the next hour. Seemed as though they were multiple aircraft of some type circling around the sky over and over again. Sometimes they were bright and lasting up to 10 seconds before disappearing. They have been constantly circling and moving north on the horizon for at least an hour. Very strange phenomenon. Now, let's just make all this clear. This all happened. All of this happened. This meteor was sighted just before midnight on April 30th, 2023. This person was talking about these UFOs, seeing them at midnight on May 1st, 2023. So a lot of people saw this, and she was talking about seeing these UFOs hovering around this spot, appearing, disappearing after this object went down, after this fireball disappeared. Then these two UFOs showed up. And all of this happened right before midnight on April 30th, 2023, and then May 1st, 2023. Now, right before midnight, right when this happened, in the backyard of the Kenmore family, two teenagers, the two teenage sons of Bobby and Contra Kenmore, the two teenage sons, Joshua and Angel, were back in the backyard area, which is loaded with heavy equipment. That there's bulldozers, or excuse me, there's forklifts, all kinds of stuff they have back there, all kinds of heavy equipment, and they're back there working on their father's truck when this object came down. Now, according to Angel, this object came down, landed in their yard with a heavy thud, right? And it was a lot of lights. He saw a lot of blue lights, red lights, sparks, red sparks as it came down, as it hit the ground. But after it hit the ground, he couldn't see anything. It was all blurry. In that area only, everything was blurry, as though it was invisible, whatever just happened, whatever came down. And no sooner did it hit the ground, he reported that he heard what sounded like thousands of footsteps running off in all different directions throughout their backyard, all around him. Next thing you know, he's faced with what he says is an 8 to 10 foot tall creature that's not human. There's definitely not human. He could see it breathing. He could see that it has big mouth, big head, big eyes, and it's looking at him, staring at him. And he felt paralyzed as he's looking at this thing, which is something that we read about in a lot in the UFO literature. A lot of people come face to face with these creatures, and they suffer some sort of paralysis. They can't move. He could not move. So what happens next? Well, they get out of there. They're seeing these creatures in the backyard. They're scared out of their mind. They get out of there. They get the father and the mother, and they go to the backyard again to see if there's something there. And we'll talk about that video later. But they film part of this, their experience as they went back there. They get chased out at one point. You could see some kind of a creature very briefly, something chasing them out. Another creature appears. The head of this creature appears above the fence, and you could see a shadow of this creature behind the fence in the slats. And so they didn't even notice that creature was there until later. Actually, it was later on when they reviewed that video, they realized, okay, there's one of the creatures, but it was transparent and blurry like these creatures were when they were seeing them. There was something about them, something strange about them. According to Angel, the one that he saw had a light floating near its head, and it would be the creature itself was somewhat blurry, sometimes blurry looking. And then here, with the one that the head that appears over the fence, it's semi-transparent. You could see through it. And then, of course, Scott Roeder, the crime scene reconstruction expert, he identified both of these creatures. Last year, in June of 2023, he was able, like, because of his experience as a crime scene reconstruction expert, he was trying to figure out, okay, what caused those people to run out of the yard, and he was able to identify the movement of something moving toward them. You can't really see it; it's so brief. It happens very briefly, but that's what caused. They all saw it at the same time, and they all start backing out of the yard at the same time. Whatever it was, when they start walking into the backyard, this thing appears, and very briefly you could see it moving, something moving toward them, and they back out of there quick. And right as they're backing out, that's when the other thing appears above the fence, appears behind the fence, and the head is above the fence. It wasn't until a while later, it wasn't until earlier this year, where Roeder was able to look at that part of the video, because I had received, on this podcast, I had received a message from one of my subscribers from New York, Julia June, who told me that I should be looking at this area above the fence, because she sent me a still picture and it showed what looks like the face of an alien. So I did a video about that, and then Scott Roeder looked at that, and then he comes back and he says, "Oh, you know what? There is something there, and it's preventing, somehow using some sort of technology that's unexplainable, preventing the cell phone camera from filming it properly. 66% of the pixels in that area where that creature appears are deleted somehow, which is impossible according to him. And he's somebody who's been doing this stuff for over 30 years, so." He knows what he's talking about. So as far as I was concerned, that was a done deal then. I mean, we have the evidence now that shows that there was a creature there. And in additionally, that's exactly, that face you see above the fence is exactly what the 3 witnesses said they saw. They described this. This is what they described. Exactly what you're seeing there, that big head. That's what all of them were seeing, was that big head in real time when they were there. They were actually, in September of last year, the family was interviewed by Inside Edition, and they all sat down to draw pictures. Now, Inside Edition only showed 2 of the images, 2 of the drawings. One was from the father, Bobby, and the other one was from Angel, and it looked like this alien creature, similar to what you see, the face that you see that appears above the fence. So, to me, as far as I was concerned, this was a done deal. These people weren't lying. After that incident in the backyard, by the way, that's when Angel called up 911 and told them what they were experiencing, and he was obviously terrified while he was on the phone. I'm just going to play this clip really quick from the 911 call.
There's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Okay, where is this on your property?
In my backyard. I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually, we're terrified of it.
So there's 2 people or 2 subjects that are in your backyard?
Correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot, 9 feet, 10 foot. I don't know. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have big eyes, like I can't explain it, and big mouth. They're shiny eyes, and they're not human. They're 100% they're not human.
Now, I just want everyone to know this, too. Now, there was more to that 911 call. Apparently, the father got on. We don't have the full 911 call. That's something there's a lot of evidence that we don't have, that the police have, that has not been released. There was apparently the father got on that call at some point after Angel was talking, and was telling the person on the other end that, hey, yeah, there's 8 to 10 foot tall creatures there. I'd like to hear the entire 911 call at some point. So, the police show up, and they're called to this. There's police officers. It took them at least an hour. Apparently, they didn't get there till after 1 a.m. sometime. The call was made sometime after midnight, shortly after the incident when they filmed that stuff. That's when they called 911, and it took at least an hour, apparently, about an hour for the cops to show up. And they showed up, and they found the family was, they're all excited. They're all, shocked. I'll just play a little bit of that video here.
Yeah. Okay, I called. I was on the other side. I was helping my dad to clean the...
On that side of the house?
On the other side, yeah, in the backyard. So we're working on a truck. And we were checking... Okay, so I was cleaning everything, putting everything inside the little garage we have. Mm-hmm. Me and my brother, we just looked.
Did you see it? Huh? Did you see it?
Yeah, me and him saw it.
What'd you see?
It was like a big creature.
A big creature?
Yeah, like around 10 feet tall.
I'm not going to BS you guys. One of my partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too, so that's why I'm kind of curious. Did you see anything land in your backyard, or?
They see like a big. That's what they say. They see like a big something with light.
Can we go downstairs? I want to spend
Yeah, we can go look.
You can see that.
No, any dogs or anything?
No, please, can you check because these kids is not gonna let me sleep tonight.
Oh yeah, I bet. I wouldn't be sleeping either.
I know you guys probably think crazy or something, but
Dude, people see stuff all the time, and it could be real. You never know. By the way, I like the shirt though.
thank you. I don't believe in it, but what I saw right now, I do believe in it. I got scared, like you.
You guys don't. I mean, you guys seem legit scared, so I don't blame you.
So you have that. You have the family. You know, I mean, obviously they're telling the truth. The police, they saw that they were scared, and obviously they saw something happen, right? Or they wouldn't be calling 911. If you call in a phony 911 call, you're looking at potential prison time and big fines. So they're not going to do something like that. They actually experienced something, and they have the proof on the video, as has been pretty much shown by Scott Roeder, proved basically that there was something there. And also Roeder also proved that the video was not altered. It wasn't tampered with. There's no CGI. It's the original video. There was no special effects added after the fact. So we had all of that. But of course, as you notice in the police video, when the police went into the backyard, we still do not have that video. We don't have the video. There was a lot of the police went back into the backyard. We don't have that missing footage. There's like 15 minutes worth of missing footage just about, and we don't have it. And I'd like to see it because there could be more evidence in there. And the only way to get it apparently is the property owner, which is not the Kenmores. This is what I've been told by the Las Vegas police. They have to turn that over. They have to agree to allow that to be made public. And that has not happened to this point, although there are efforts ongoing to make that happen. But maybe in the future at some point we will get that video. But as far as anyone should be concerned, we do have enough evidence at this point. But then, of course, as I talked about this, there's more evidence was going to come out on this, right? And as far as I'm concerned, we kept on looking at that video, and after a while there was more evidence to emerge from it. Particularly, there's a creature that appeared after they get chased out of the yard, after all of that, and then they reopen the gate and they point the video camera back there, and right when they do that, you could see way in the background a creature that looks like different than the bigger ones that they were describing. It looks like a much smaller one. It looks like a small gray alien. And that pops its head up, and for a few seconds it's there. There's something there that is not human, and it looks like there's some sort of technology or ability at work, at play, that these beings are using to prevent themselves from being observed, from being filmed. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what, I wasn't there, so I don't know what the people's actual eyeballs were able to see as they were looking back there. They were pointing at something. They were talking about seeing things. At one point, the father, Bobby, was saying pelon, 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 which in Spanish and in some other languages means bald or hairless. So these creatures are bald and hairless, as we all know. So he was seeing something. But for a few brief seconds, right when they start pointing that camera back there, we see this little being show up. And as far as I'm concerned, this creature that we are seeing here right now, that I'm showing on the screen, there's no question that's there. It's solid. Whatever that is, it's solid, but there's something else that's causing it. There's some sort of a distortion going on before and after it appears. It seems like they were using some sort of technology to distort from preventing themselves from being filmed, from being seen. We're not exactly sure, but you can see that there's a lot of stuff going on back there. And in addition to that one thing moving around. And of course, recently I did do another video. I did another podcast where I talked about how I was able to take that image of that little creature in the background and show and take it to an AI animation program that's part of my my editing program that I use, Cyberlink, and it recognized that there was a face there, and it created an animated version of it, and that's what I'm showing on the screen right now. So that the computer itself recognizes that there was something there. To me, this one here was the backbreaker. right? This breaks the back. The one that the third one here, the third main. I basically there's three main ones as far as I'm concerned. I think there's more there than what I'm talking about. But the three creatures, the one that chases them out of the yard, that didn't move the needle. When Scott Roeder initially talked about that, okay, you could barely see it. It's very fleeting. You could see something moving, but a lot of people are out there. Well, it still doesn't prove it. Okay, and then he comes up with when he shows how the head above the fence was, whatever was happening there, it was impossible. Let me just play this clip from what Scott Roeder was talking about earlier this year with regard to that creature above the fence.
Well, to me, I applied the same principles that I would apply to any kind of a homicide investigation, right?
Yes.
And you have to look at the totality of the evidence. And you're going to have debunkers that'll be like, well, but the shadow, it could be this, that, or the other. No, it cannot. And I want to open this up. Everything that we've done, I'm opening it up for peer review. Okay. Anybody out there with a degree in photography, anybody out there who's a qualified expert witness in video analysis like I am, anybody out there with a master's degree or higher in education in video analysis, video editing, photography, film development, computer animation, and so on and so forth, bring it on. Look at what I've put on my YouTube channel. Look at what Jim and I are going to talk about today. And I'm willing to hear what professionals in my field have to say about this and open it up. And if I'm wrong, I'll admit it. But I think that the evidence at this particular time with what we've seen here is proof, couple things, that these entities, both in the background and in the foreground behind the fence, are real. They're there. This is not fake. This is not a fraud. I guarantee it. 100%. These two items, these two beings are in the real world environment with the Kenmore family. That's a fact. It's an absolute fact. That is there, and the one in the background is there. 100%, beyond any reasonable doubt, these beings are there. Now, the question is, who are they? Where are they from, and what do they want? That's where the conversation goes after this presentation, Jim. The reality is confirmed. They're there. These people have experienced an extraterrestrial reality, interdimensional, whatever term you want to put on it. But these are non-human intelligent beings that are there in the real world. It's there. This is proof.
So as far as I was concerned, this was a done deal. I felt like we had enough evidence at this time to show the world that, hey, we are not alone. There's no question about it. This family had, what they were talking about. They really did experience this, right? They really did see aliens in their backyard, and there was more there too. I mean, they like Angel said, the witness. He said that there were thousands of footsteps running off in all different directions. Okay, that's what he heard, and I think that backyard was loaded with all kinds of different ones. I don't know why they were there. Did their craft had some sort of an issue or need to make a emergency landing? Did those two UFOs that Brittany R had seen from Arizona, were they looking for them? Did they eventually get them out of there? Because according to Angel Kenmore, by the time the police showed up, he didn't see them in the backyard anymore. They were gone. They disappeared. And whatever that craft, after that craft came down, whatever it was, he saw it coming down, but when it hit the ground, it was invisible. So we don't know. And here's the thing: we as far as I'm concerned, those first two, right? That should have proved it right there. But you hear from debunkers, some of the people in debunkers, but mostly, surprisingly, there were some people within the UFO community who I talk about a lot, and who said, "Oh, it's just shadows. Oh, it's such a leap," and all that kind of stuff, right? It's harmful. This is harmful to the discussion and all this kind of stuff because it's too sensational, I guess, in their minds. Also, they don't think so. Some of them, they don't think it's enough evidence or something. Even though we have an expert someone who's an expert in video analysis telling you that there's something strange here, and he guarantees that there was creatures in the yard and that these people were lying. But then when you throw in the third creature here, the one I'm pointing out now, the one that for those few seconds is no question about it. It's there. It meets the description of the gray aliens, the gray alien you see on the cover of Whitley Strieber's Communion, as I talked about recently. I mean, this is what people have been seeing all these years. People who have been abducted have talked about these things. That's what it is. It's a backbreaker. This breaks the back. That's why I call this one the backbreaker, because you could throw out all of the objections you want about the first two, the one that chases them out of the yard and the being that shows up over the fence. Like some people try to claim that, oh, it's just a shadow. Well, how could a shadow appear in thin air? It needs a solid surface. There's no solid surface there. That face appears in thin air, right? But so there's all these different objections to it like that. But then here comes the backbreaker. Then explain this part here. Explain this. You cannot explain it. You can't explain it. There's no explaining it other than there were alien creatures in the backyard, and this is one of them right here. You can see it as big as life for those few seconds. You can see its face. It turns its head. You can see its eyes. All right. There's no doubt these people were telling the truth. No doubt that there were some sort of non-human intelligent creatures in their backyard that night. No doubt about it. All of this, and this is why it comes back to the meteor then. How it couldn't have been a meteor. How could it have been a meteor? That thing that came down was containing these creatures, right? That's so it could not have been a meteor. So when somebody says, "Oh yeah, it was a meteor," no, it wasn't, because the other evidence shows that it could not have been, because things came out of that, and you could see here's some of the things right here, and particularly the backbreaker, Mr. Backbreaker here. Mr. Backbreaker ends the debate. That takes it. If it didn't take it over the top before, this one does. It certainly does. But there are other things in the backyard. There's other things happening in the backyard at the same time, for instance, as and that's what I want to get into now a little bit, some of the other anomalies. Now, some of the other things it's hard to really tell, right? But it's not, I think it's safe to say that they're either possibly that these could be other alien creatures, or probably that they're other alien creatures. For instance, there's a flash of a face. When they start filming in that, after they get chased out, and then they reopen the gate and they go back there, and Contra starts filming again, right when that other face is showing up there, that little the backbreaker. When backbreaker shows up right around the same time, there's a face that you see very briefly, just flashes up in the air, off to the side of to the left of the heavy equipment. And if you could zoom in on it, it looks like there could be eyes there. I mean, I'm using all different kinds of video to show you this. This is an enhanced version. You could see it looks like it could be a face. It just flashes there for like 3 or 4 frames and then disappears. It's gone. But then when they're filming that backyard area, and then later on when they zoom back in, you could see it looks like there's something tall standing there. Like you could see it moving around, like almost shape-shifting in place, like or trying to distort at something tall moving, and I don't know what's going on, but something looks like it's there. Is that one of the tall beings? And from a distance that we're seeing, and there's some sort of cloaking going on? Could be, possibly. Right? I mean, these are some of the possibles, because we know that there's no question about it. There's alien, non-human intelligent creatures, whatever you want to call them, in the backyard. So this possibly is another one right here. This is what we're seeing often. See, now I'm not sure. I don't think that they were noticing that one. I don't know. I'm not, I never got a chance to interview them about that one. I'd like to sit down. Sit down with them someday and go through this entire video and look at all the different anomalies in here. And you could see that there's things going on here. There's no question, all over the place. And then just let's go back. Okay, you see the tall one there. I don't know what else to say about it other than it looks like there could be something there. That's possibly an alien standing there. You could see a dark shadow earlier before they zoomed in. A face flashed there for a few seconds and then disappeared. Maybe it's nothing, but maybe it's something, because it could be something based on what we know, right? Based on the fact that there is most certainly other things, alien / non-human intelligent creatures there.
Anda el camión, lo concha, diga tu camión. El segundo, de izquierda para acá, de cables.
Kay, quiero te dikawang ladel.
Del concha, costelo, concha, chistilo.
Kay, forklift o camión.
Yo tomo muy. Castelo, pegachari, palalo, que te acordó con la. Palalo, dile que a casa de los brindis. Bien luchado, o sea, pecucharico, se adolo. Vaya, medicarle completico.
Cae.
Cotelo de que
So then we're gonna look at the area where that other head where the backbreaker showed up. If you focus on there there looks like there's things go all around there. There could be one, looks like there could be a taller one standing next to it to the right there. Looks like there could be in one part of it, looks like there could be one right next to it to the right, right in front of the taller one. It looks like there might be something right to the left of it below it, and in some frames it looks like there could be something off into the background to the left of it. It looks like there's a bunch of them possibly there, more than just that little one that we see clearly for a few seconds. There's only one that we see clearly. We see it, and it looks like it's distorted. You can see a distorted version of the face, and then it gets really distorted for a second, and then you could see it clearly all of a sudden for 3 seconds, and then it gets distorted again. But all around there, it looks like there could be things going on. Could be it could be surround, not just that one. I don't think it's just that one that's there. I think could be multiple things all around there if you're looking in that whole area. Right, and then if you look up into the cab of the vehicle, I mean, here was a picture that Scott Roeder had sent me that he had identified in there. This face here looks like an alien. I mean, look at that thing, right? And then, but if you just keep the camera trained on that cab area for the entire, the whole time they were filming it, I mean, it looks like there's movement, there's shadows moving around. Sometimes there's faces popping in and out of nowhere. I mean, is it some of it could be pareidolia? But I don't know about that now, particularly because we know that there's definitely other aliens in that yard, right? So maybe some of it is pareidolia, which is you're just seeing faces, right? Because the camera was far away and it was dark out, so it's having trouble filming that dark area. But I don't think so. I think there are alien beings in there. There's a lot of people see different things going on in that cab area. I think more. I'm not there. I'm still trying to study this. I'm trying to take it one step at a time. But there's definitely things in that cab area. They were looking at it. They were seeing stuff back there. And even right toward the end of the video, it looks like in the background off to the right. And let me just pull this one up. You'll see, it looks like right before the video ends, it looks like two little alien heads, two little alien bodies pop up, parallel to each other in the back for a few seconds, and then the video ends. They're all over the place back there, I think. I mean, even in the beginning, I recently had received an email from someone who, and I've talked about this before, that even before they go into the backyard, it looks like there could have been a big one standing there. And I looking at that, and yeah, there could be. All of these are possibilities, all these different anomalies that you see, in addition to the ones that we know, I believe, as far as anyone should be concerned, we know that there were alien beings there. Those people weren't lying. There was something that chased them out of the yard because you could see the movement. There was something that appeared above the fence because that face that stays there, that hangs there for like a few milliseconds, it just happens to meet the same description as what those people said they saw, the 8 to 10 foot tall ones, right? But then, like I said, the backbreaker, the one that ends the debate, the ones that the part of this whole thing, right, that's going to send all the debunkers home crying their eyeballs out. The part of the video that makes the secret control group realize now that they're going to have to come clean soon. They're going to have to come clean soon. It's the backbreaker. There's no question, right? No doubt about it. That's a little gray alien. That's what people have been describing all these years. People who have dealt with them, people who experienced these things, people who encountered them, all these alien abductees. This is what they've been talking about. That's what it is. There's no doubt. So, and then in addition to that, you have all these other anomalies. And then even before, like I was talking about recently, that one guy, it looks like there's a tall one there that's standing there. Looks like it might be turning its head. Maybe, possibly. Maybe there's one right beside it too. I don't know. I just think that whole yard was filled with different anomalies. I think that, when you hear Angel Kenmore stating, yeah, I heard it sounded like thousands of footsteps going in all different directions around me. Next thing you know, I see these 8 to 10 foot tall creatures with big black eyes, and they make me, when I look at it, I become paralyzed. I could see them breathing. I could hear them breathing. I could see their chest. They have big mouths, right? But in addition, there were other things there too. A lot of people who have gotten abducted over the years talk about They get abducted by the short little grays, and they're brought on board. And next, these taller grays are the ones that examine them and do medical procedures. And standing there sometimes in the background, overseeing the whole thing, are these praying mantis type creatures. Is that what these bigger ones are? Maybe, I don't know. Could be. This whole thing, I mean, as you see, in addition to the creatures that we have identified for sure as being alien creatures, we have the witness testimony. It all jibes. Yes, you see alien creatures here. You see movement of something upright chasing those people out of the yard. You saw the thing that appeared over the fence, the head that appeared over the fence. And then you have the backbreaker, the one that's just is going to send the debunkers and skeptics home with tears in their eyes and just puts them out of business. That's why I call him the backbreaker. This little guy back here, he's putting a lot of people out of business. A lot of people out of business, and it changes the whole story here. I mean, I know we're fighting to get disclosure, and I've talked about recently, and other people have talked about this too. I don't think we're going to get any kind of disclosure this year. We're not going to get it this year because of the presidential election. Maybe next year sometime, hopefully. But this story here, it has been talked about a little bit in the mainstream, not a lot. And especially now, I don't think they're going to want to talk about it, especially because of the backbreaker. The backbreaker, as you know, wasn't really something that was featured at the time when Scott Roeder and myself were talking about this, like on Fox News Digital and also on News Nation. We were talking about the one that chased them out of the yard and the face that appears above the fence. But now the backbreaker changes the whole thing. I mean, the backbreaker corroborates everything else. It provides the substantiation that maybe some people were lacking before. Now, in fact, let me just say this: I have received several messages from different people who did not believe this at first, who just didn't think it was as good. As I've talked about this recently, the little guy. The little guy in the back finally got them across the line. I mean, obviously, how could it not? How could the backbreaker not take you across that line? I mean, we already had the evidence as far as I was concerned, but then this just takes it over the top. And then you have to look at the other anomalous stuff that's occurring back there in the backyard. All of it, and you take it into totality. Now, some of the things you hear, this is one other thing I wanted to address. Some people complained, that these people, that it was a hoax and everything like that. Well, it could not have been a hoax, or that Angel and these people are lying. Obviously, as you see, they weren't. But some of the reasons for this, like they pointed out to, when shortly after this story started becoming big news last year, they pointed out that this circle in the backyard that Angel Kenmore had said was where the thing landed, that's what caused it. Well, here's what I have to say to that. Well, when he was brought into the backyard, Angel Kenmore had said this in an interview, saying one of the police officers said, "Hey, is that the circle? Maybe that's where it landed. There's a circle right there." And Angel just thought, okay, that must be where it landed. But then Google map footage that was taken before this happened showed that the circle was already there. Well, okay, so he made a mistake. That's not like he's lying or making stuff up. It's just that, if you look at that backyard from the point of view of of the sky, looking down at it, from a drone or something looking down at it, it looks like there's marks all over the ground. There's indentations everywhere. He probably just never noticed it before when the cop pointed out to him, "Hey, maybe that circle there is what caused. That's where it was sitting." And Angel agreed and thought it was it. So, but then some people online will say, "Oh, well, see, he's lying. He's obviously lying." Well, no, he's not. He just thought that's where that made sense to him, and the cop pointed it out to him. He probably just never noticed that indentation in the ground before, and now he's noticing because somebody's pointing out to him and said, "Hey, yeah, look at that's where it must have been sitting." So that was nonsense. And then the other one was, Angel was saying Angel showed a video of something, of a security cam footage of something hitting the ground, and you could see a light flash and you could hear a thud, and he posted that as evidence to support the story that something landed in his yard. And it turned out that video was taken before this incident happened. Okay. So what? Somebody pointed, again, the same kind of situation. Somebody says, "Angel, hey, there's this video online that shows something coming down, a light flash." And so Angel, a teenage kid, "Oh, yeah, that must be it." So he posted, okay, so what? He made another mistake. It wasn't like he's lying or trying to, tell people lies. No. So, but that's the kind of stuff where people were trying to say that these people are lying, and they weren't lying. They were not lying. It's not a hoax. You could see they have the evidence on the video camera, the video that was looked at by an expert, and no CGI was applied. You see it. There's the backbreaker. Look at the backbreaker. Look at the backbreaker. You can't argue with the backbreaker. The backbreaker's sending Mick West back, and he's in a panic over this. He's in a panic. Why do you think none of these people are talking about it? This ends it. That's why people in the UFO community are scared to talk about it. They know it. They know it's over. It's over. It's been over. Just like Scott Roeder said, it's been over. And there's more stuff there, and there's more evidence that we haven't even gotten to see yet. I'd like to hear the rest of that 911 call, for instance. I'd like to see the rest of that police video, for instance, that we don't have. I like to see all of it. I like to interview these people at some point in the future. There should be another interview. This is one of the biggest events of all time. But as far as anyone should be concerned, yeah, it wasn't just we could prove that there was something there, right? We know that now based on what we have. I mean, based on the three biggies, the one that chased them out, the head above the fence, and the one that's most certainly popping its head up and moving. It turns its head. And the AI recognized that it was there. So that tells us that there was certainly something there. The people were telling the truth. And then that makes you realize that there's a lot of other things that are there too that we're having trouble seeing. But it looks, you could tell there's something going on there. We just can't make it out. See, this is beyond a human experience, all of this stuff. That's why I think, when we first start looking at this video, a lot of us, we weren't seeing anything because we don't know what we're looking for. We don't know how these things operate. We don't know the tricks they have up their sleeves. It takes time. It takes a lot of time to get to the bottom of this. We've reached a point, though, no question about it. We've been there. We've been there for months now. We've reached a point where we have the absolute evidence. That should tell the world that it's over. It's over, man. Way over. And there's nothing anybody can do. And so when you hear people out there saying that there's no evidence, well, just, show them this. Show them this evidence. Show them. Just say, wait, you're totally wrong. You're out of bounds. You don't know what you're talking about. There's something here. We have the evidence. We all now know. It doesn't matter what you say. It has no impact. If you want to lie, go ahead, but it's not going to really have an impact. It's just not going to work for you anymore. We have the evidence that shows it's not just the UFOs. We're seeing the occupants. We're getting a glimpse of the occupants. For whatever reason, we got a glimpse of the occupants. And now it's all a done deal, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. It's out there for the world to look at. And I just want to point out one more thing. I've been working with this raw video that Scott Roeder provided me last year, a raw video version of it. Now, some people actually have, there's some high definition they're touted as 4K, and I've been looking at some of them 4K ones, and I don't know if it is actually, I don't think that, I think what people have done, somebody has done, or some people have done, they've taken the video and they enhanced it. They I don't know if they put HDR effect on there. They did things to boost the color to make it look more attractive. But the problem is when you look at it, there's a lot of details are missing. So I'm going to leave a link in this description for this video for this podcast for anyone if they want to. I have the raw video. You could examine it for yourself. You could download it from my Google Drive. I'll have a link there. You could download it to your computer. You could put it in your editing program. You could examine it yourself. You find stuff in there. Let me know. Again, this is, it's like, I feel like every time I sit down to do another investigation of this tape, I feel like a coal miner. You're putting on the hard hat with the little light on the front of it. You feel like you're going in there. You're mining for aliens. You're looking for more evidence in there because there is more evidence. And here's one other thing I like for people to keep in mind too. Think about it. That video is only 1 minute and 41 seconds long, and look, we have evidence of at least three aliens, right? Three different points to do, no question, right? No doubt. Particularly, you know, and the creme de la creme is the backbreaker, like I was saying. I think that's, you know, that's solid. You're seeing solid. You're seeing a face. You're seeing eyes. You're seeing movement. You're seeing it longer than the other two. And to me, that breaks the back of anyone who tries to pretend that this isn't real or there's nothing to it. In fact, it's such a leap. It's such a leap to think that there were no non-human intelligent creatures there. It's such a leap. Right? So, yeah, just, you know, keep that in mind. You know, it's fun to... you know, check it, you know, do your own examination of it. You know, that's what it's like, though. It's like, you know, you're mining for aliens. You're looking for evidence. Just think, a 1 minute and 41-second video, and look at all the evidence that we found in there. You tell me, you take your cell phone camera out in your backyard with minimal lighting and some time, right? And you film it for 1 minute and 41 seconds. Take that video back in your house and see if you could find alien faces in there like you could in this video. You're not going to. You're not going to. That's because there were aliens that landed in that backyard in some sort of a craft that was invisible. Somehow they got out of there quick before the cops showed up. We don't know how. Maybe those two UFOs that somebody from Arizona saw circling around, maybe they had something to do with the Great Escape, or who knows? We just don't know. That's all speculation. But the fact of the matter is we're there. We've crossed the Rubicon, and it's over. It's over, and there's a lot more there, a lot more to be discovered yet, and there's more evidence out there that we don't have yet, but we will. Someday we will. Anyway, I want to just say thank you all for joining me. Until next time.